Hi everyone! In this video we're going to be continuing our examination of prefixes with the prefixes ex, non, in, and for. Now in this activity there will be quite a few words that are oddballs, and you'll notice there is no oddball category, and you don't have to put them in an oddball category this week. Just sort them under their proper prefixes. And just keep in mind that some words will have base words and some words will not. But the prefixes still have meaning. All right, let's take a look at the first prefix, ex. Now, when ex is placed at the beginning of a word, it has a certain meaning. So generally speaking, when you see an ex at the beginning of the word, it means either out or it might mean beyond. Okay, so ex means out or beyond. So let's take a look at a word that shows that. Can you find a word with an ex beginning on your sheet? Well, if you see exit, you are correct. Now, if you look at the word exit, if you think of it as a base word, it doesn't really make sense. This is one of those oddball type of words. When you exit a room, it means that you go out of a room. And you may have seen exit signs placed in malls and schools. And it just lets you know where you can exit or leave the building. So that's where that meaning out comes from, out. Okay, let's see if you can find another word that begins with ex. Here's one that we've talked about when we've talked about bullying. Exclude. When you exclude somebody, what does that mean? Well, it means to keep somebody out of your group or your space. Not the opposite of that would be to include. Okay, so exclude means to keep somebody out. Again, there's that meaning of the prefix out. All right, shall we look at one more? Can you find another word? How about exclaim? You might have seen this as you're reading books. To exclaim something means to say something out loud. Okay, there again, to say something out loud. All right, so there's 3 examples. In this sort today, you're going to find the rest of the words with the prefix ex and place them under that category, keeping in mind that the prefix ex means either out or beyond. It has variations or differences in its meaning. Let's take a look at another one, non. Okay, when you see non at the beginning of a word, generally speaking, it just means not. Okay, let's take a look at a word that illustrates that. Okay, if I say nonsense, if I say, oh, what you're saying is nonsense, what do I mean by that? Well, I mean that what you're saying does not make sense. All right, so that's where nonsense comes from. Non just means not. This does not make sense. It is nonsense. Can you find another word that starts with non? How about nonfiction? You hear that when you go to the library with Miss Boardman. Nonfiction means it is not fiction, okay? It's the opposite of fiction. It's nonfiction. If you look for one more on this sheet, is there one more? How about non-fat? Well, keeping in mind that non means not, what do you think non-fat means? You might see that in the food you eat. Well, it means there is no fat. Okay, so there you go. The meaning of non as a prefix means not. Let's take a look at the prefix in. When you see in at the beginning of a word, generally speaking, it has a few meanings. It might mean not. It might mean in or into. Again, just like the word ex, it has variations in its meaning. It has many different meanings. So if we're looking at in, how about incomplete? If I say your work is incomplete, what does that mean? Well, it means it is not complete. Okay, let's see if there's another one. How about incorrect? If something is incorrect, what does that mean? Well, it means it is not correct. Keeping in mind that in can mean not, okay? When I said earlier that the opposite of exclude was include, I don't think it's on this page, but if you include somebody, that means you're allowing someone into your group. Keep in mind that is not one of the words on your sheet, though. I just wanted to show you exclude and include being opposites. Okay, finally, let's take a look at our last prefix, fore. If you see fore at the beginning of a word, that generally means before. Okay, it's going to be hard for me to write here. Before. It could also mean in front of. I'm going to write into the next box here. Okay, so before or in front of. So let's take a look at a word. How about forecast? You may have heard this as you're watching the news with your parents. If somebody gives you a forecast, for example, a weather forecast, they're telling you what the weather will be like before it actually happens. They're using science to figure out what the weather will be like. So they're telling you what it will be like before it actually happens. Okay? Your forearm is a part of your arm that is close to your wrist. Okay? So that's kind of at the beginning of your arm. Okay? It's kind of in front of your larger bicep area. Alrighty, so your job this week is to work on these 4 prefixes. Ex, meaning out or beyond. Non, that means not. In, that means not, or it could also mean in or into. And the prefix fore, which means before or in front of. Okay, so take a look at the words. I want you to practice reading them with your parents. Sort them into their proper categories. Write me 3 sentences that have 2 words for each sentence. And make sure you're writing it on paper so that you're not doing the autocorrect on Seesaw. And I would like that handed in at the end of the week. All right, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye for now.